Ethnography is an important subject for the students of social sciences, especially anthropology, sociology, social work, psychology, and other disciplines, including economics, political science, and management studies. Today, we are taking up majority of the studies using the method of ethnography. So, ethnography is nothing but a detailed study of an institution or organization or a family or a social system or village studies, anything which is associated with the individual study of a culture, that is very important. Now, in this lesson, we are going to have a detailed discussion about the word ethnography, the meaning and scope, definition, and how you can able to apply ethnographic methodology. In this lesson, we are also going to know about the uses of ethnography and its importance and role of ethnography for the study of various cultures. The word ethnography comes from these two Greek words, that is ethnos, meaning people, and graphics, meaning writing, that is writing about the people and their cultures. Ethnography is also often referred to as culture writing, and it refers to a type of documentation often employed by anthropologists in their fieldwork. This genre of writing uses detailed first-hand writing description of a culture based on the first-hand research in the field. So, it is a researcher goes to the fieldwork, collect the data, and writes the first-hand information collected by him as a cultural profile. Ethnographies often reflect the anthropological desire for holism, the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of the individual parts. In the case of ethnography, holism refers to the facts that a culture can be set understood through the understanding of as many aspects of the cultural context as possible. Now, let us see what is ethnography. Ethnography is a qualitative research method where researchers observe and or interact with the study of participants in their real life of environment. It was initially popular in the field of anthropology but is now used across a wide range of social sciences. A good researcher is required when observing and or interacting with target audiences in their real life of environment. Ethnographic studies are usually conducted through interviews, participant observation, and surveys. It is a systematic study and documentation of human activity without imposing a prior interpretation on it via immersion in the environment of it and observes of the practices takes that constitutes, which you are observing here, how I have used this methodology for collection of the data, ethnographic documentation of the films of the 75 primitive tribes in India. So you observe here how meticulously I am participating and collecting the data by using the immersion method. That I became a member of that tribe, or you can call as a society, and I have stayed for a longer period of time. For example, among the Jarvas, I stayed more than 1.5 years. In Kadamtala Jetty, I used to go daily to the field collection of the data among the Jarvas. By way of doing it, I can able to prepare the action plan for the Jarva conservation. So it is not that much easy to write ethnographic profile. One has to sacrifice his life for months together and years together write ethnographic profiles. The best example I wanted to give you is the writing ethnographic profile on the Shompen tribe of Great Nicobar Island. To establish contact with the Shompens and get the permission from the administration, it took for me more than 6 months' time. I struggled very hard to get the permission and also to go to Great Nicobar Island. My work started in 1994 and ended in 1998. For a period of 4 years, I have worked in a phased manner. So it is not that much easy. You can observe here, there is no transportation, there is no communication, only 15 days once one ship will be going to the Port Blair to the Great Nicobar Island. It is a very difficult task which I have faced. Sometimes months together I was held up. In 1995 I was held up because of the cyclone. There is no ship. 2 months I had to stay. There is no food, there is no shelter for me. So it is a great struggle I have faced for writing the Shompen on. So, as though I have struggled hard, but I am the one of the first person to enumerate the Shompen population of Great Nicobar Island. That emotional satisfaction as an anthropologist and sociologist I got. I have submitted the report to the Andaman and Nicobar administration for its consideration and for the development. Is an interesting research which I have done in Great Nicobar Island on Shompen tribe. As a recognition, I have received a 1998 Commendation Award from the Government of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He defines ethnography as a description of the customary social behavior of an identifiable group of a people. Particular group you will be selecting. In that group you will be conducting an ethnographic study about the way of life of the people. It is a simple definition he has given. Harry Balcott has also expressed in his book on ethnography as a way of seeing. See, it is a vision. That means, the way of life, the entire culture you will be observing. You have a vision, you will be looking into the entire world. Now you can ask me any tribe among the 75 primitive tribes, it is in my mind. I can able to tell you the way of life they are leading. Their marriage system, social organization, kinship system, political organization, religion, and economy. I can able to tell you different ways of performance of marriages and how they will be worshipping the gods, the nature worship, the way of life they are leading, different kind of economic systems, all are in my mind about 75 primitive tribes. That is why I wanted to share my knowledge, which the rich knowledge which are accumulated since last 45 years. I want to share with you the scholars and the people of India what I have visioned, what I have learnt with you. That is, ethnography is nothing but a vision of a researcher. Burke and Kirk defined ethnography as a method of observing human interactions in social settings and activities. Also, as descriptive produced from such research rather than studying the people from the outside, you learn from people from the inside. Here, Burke and Crick says that is a descriptive analysis of a researcher studying the particular population and learning about the people and writing about the culture of a people is ethnography. Anthropologist Curry and others defined a lengthy definition. Let us look into that definition, what they say. Ethnography is a form of field research that seeks to learn the culture of a particular setting or environment. It often relies on a participant observation through prolonged field work, and many include other qualitative and quantitative methods. The researchers becomes embedded in ongoing relationship with the research participants for the purpose of observing and recording talk and behavior. In such a case, the researcher as supposed to, for instance, surveys or questionnaires, is the primary instrument for data collection and analysis. The researcher seeks to place specific events into a broader, more meaningful context with a focus on the culture and social interaction of the observed people or groups. Ethnography is particularly valuable in understanding the influence of the social and cultural norms on the effectiveness of health interventions. This definition is too lengthy, and he has given in the definition entire aspects, all the aspects which you wanted to study in the ethnographic study. It is an intensive study where you will be going to the field, participate, observe, record, use different methods, questionnaires, case studies, and structural or unstructural questions you will be asking, and preparing genealogies also. It is an exclusive and inclusive study of a individual social group or caste or a tribe or an institution or an organization. That is ethnographic study. Another important study which I wanted to mention in this context is my work, which have been taken up by myself for the strategic planning for the future development of the tribes in India. Funded by Planning Commission, this project I have taken up in the year 1993 to 95 in all the states of southern India. A sampling study was conducted to understand the economy, education, and health in detail. A comparative analysis was done to plan for the future development of the tribes. Here, in this study, I have taken up 10 tribes for my study, that is Malayali, Sholiga, Irula, Mutugar, Kurumbar, Valmiki, Kondareddy, Nukadara, Bagata, Porja, are some of the tribes which I have taken up and conducted a detailed study with 7 research scholars for a period of 2 years and completed the work and submitted to the Planning Commission for its consideration. The Planning Commission appreciated my report and implemented the recommendations for the development of the tribes in India. It is a policy research. So I have compared each and every tribe, how they differ and how they are accepting and how they are united together. Their cultural features I have compared, economy I have compared, health system I have compared, educational how it is going on I have compared. The policies, the welfare measures provided by Government of India, how it is working. What are the communities such a accepting the welfare schemes and what are the tribes not accepting the welfare schemes. There are many schemes introduced by the Government of India and the state government for the welfare and development of the tribes in India, but uniformly all these schemes are not acceptable for the tribals who are inhabiting at various ecological and cultural zones. Their traditional economy varies. Some of them are food gatherers, hunters, fishing cultures, pastoralists, podu cultivation, agriculturists. So, one scheme cannot be acceptable for all the tribals for the economic development. In the same way, health problems also varies based on the geographical location and climatic conditions. The education also, their mother tongue is totally different. Some tribes accept the local language, some tribes is not able to do it. So a comparative analysis was done by me and submitted to the Government of India how to implement what are the constraints faced by the tribals in India. So ethnological studies helps in policy making. It helps the policy makers, developers and administrators to implement their policies without any problem. So that is why ethnology plays an important role, but many of them are not using this method and able to develop the people, the state, the nation. Now let us learn about ethnographic method. Ethnographic is characterized by long-term participant observation as a central method where the researcher spends an extended period of time in a social group in order to collect data. The term ethnography is often used interchangeably with the term participant observation, but it is actually a much more broader methodology than this, both because of the range of methods it employs and because it encompasses an overall orientation to research which is detailed below. It comprises a collection of different ways of eliciting and collecting data, including the observation of individuals and groups of individuals, unstructured interviews, documentary analysis, and the use of researchers' field notes. It employs these methods within a long-term, holistic, and flexible approach for the data collection. So, is a extensive methodology will be adopted here. When a participant observation methodology you are using, You will be participating, observing by yourself. There is no need for you to use the tape recorder, radio, or any other thing. And you will be participating first, observing, and then you will be noting all the data which have been collected. That is a very important methodology for ethnographic data collection. It is a primary source data collection, we can say, not the secondary source data. Depending on others, you will be going to the field and you will be collecting the data by yourself and writing the ethnographic report. Among the most notable studies under what became to be known as the British School of Social Anthropology are those by Bonislaw Melnitzky and E. Evans Pritchard. These studies involved long period of intensive fieldwork and participant observation with small tribes of indigenous people and advocated an approach to anthropology which sought to understand the culture from the perspective. So, Melnitzky's work and Evans Pritchard's are the important ethnographic documents for anthropological research, and which became a model for not only anthropologists but almost all social sciences, using their methods and techniques in collection of the data on the populations for writing the ethnographic report. Margaret Mead was one of the best ethnographers in the American cultural anthropological tradition. Her fieldwork and published reports stands as a model for any being field worker to follow even today. Though most of her major fieldwork was done in the 1920s and 30s, her description read as thoroughly modern and contemporary. Agronautes of the West Pacific, Melnitzky 1992, could not have been written today. Social Organization of Manuya by Mead in 1930s could have. This is telling statement about the standard and brilliance of Margaret Mead's work. Another pioneering anthropologist is Melnitzky. Contemporary ethnographers consider Melnitzky as one of the most experienced ethnographer. They consider Melnitzky's works as highly systematic with clear theoretical approaches in studying social systems. Other scholars have often referred to Melnitzky as the first anthropologist to bring anthropology off the veranda. This means that Melnitzky had first-hand experience of lives of his study population. Another important study which I have taken up is the ethnographic film documentation of 75 primitive tribes. Is my dream project. It took 16 years for me to complete the project. I have studied almost all the 75 primitive tribes all over India, personally documented the ethnic films, visited their habitation, written the ethnography, documented the films myself with my research scholars. I think now it is launched in the YouTube. You can view that films. Why I am telling here is that each ethnographic film is a document, or you can say it is a monograph, or you can say it is a PhD thesis. These ethnographic films, a student or a scholar can make use of it. By close observation or close watching of these films, you can able to compare the tribals all over India. Take for example the Maram Nagas of Manipur, how they differ the culturally, economically, socially, politically with the tribe of Todas of Nilgiri Hills. The economy is totally different. The Todas are pastoralists, the Maram Nagas are agriculture. So you can able to compare. Some of them are as though they are living in Manipur and Todas or Tamil Nadu Nilgiri Hills. I find myself some of the close cultural relations which you can able to establish. That is an important study for a social sciences. How they are united together, how they are different. As though racially they are different. And they have some united cultures. So, like this, you can use my data of 75 primitive tribes. You can able to do wonderful work. You can do MPhils, you can do PhDs, you can write essays or you can write articles on my dissertations which I have submitted, which I am telecasted through YouTube and FaceTime and Twitter, many other media. It is a free. And these titles are also available in almost all the tribal research institutions. You can take this one and have a comparative analysis of ethnology. It not only helps to the students and also it helps the administrators and policymakers. So don't waste my contribution and you can use this data. It is a rich data. Nowadays, very few research scholars are going for the field for the study. As a participant observation methodology, I have adopted and documented these films, the cost of my life. I have spent entire my life for this film documentation. I hope you enjoy these films. These are rare films. Nobody in the world has done 75 ethnographic films. No? So it is my greatest contribution to the nation and the people of India and giving it to the scholars for their research and their promotion. The differentiation of ethnography, ethnology and anthropology. Claude Lévi-Strauss' work gives us a clear understanding how this discipline differs from other disciplines. A classical and clear-cut differentiation of ethnology, ethnography, anthropology in its historical context, Lévi-Strauss described ethnography as the first stage in anthropological research, as a methodology that involved observation, description, and was primarily based on the field research that focused on a single community. Likewise, ethnology was considered the next stage of the investigation in which ethnologists compared and contrasted different groups of people. So, here he made it a clear-cut distinction between ethnography and ethnology. Ethnology is a study of a particular culture, whereas ethnologist, after taking these ethnographic reports, he will try to compare the different cultures. That is ethnology. The final stage of investigation, according to Lévi-Strauss, was aimed at using theory to find structural principles. Lévi-Strauss, ethnography, ethnology, and anthropology do not form three different disciplines but three stages or three moments of time in the same line of investigation. And preference for one another of these only means that attention is concentrated on one type of research which can never exclude the other two. Now let us look into the French anthropologist Philippe Descola. He argues that ethnography, ethnology, and anthropology involves a sequence of increasing maturity in the development of an anthropologist. He argues that British and American versions of anthropology tend to confuse the three topics by labeling all of them as anthropology. However, in a recent work, Desclaw recognized that division of disciplines in three stages cannot be maintained because of the continuum of description, comprehension, and explanation. So, he differs from Claude Lévi-Strauss' explanation how it differs from the different disciplines. So now you can able to understand how ethnology plays an important role in having a comparative analysis of the human societies, the pattern of life, the way of life, the cultural profiles of different ethnic groups all over the world. Now let us look into the subject matter of establishment of fieldwork. Melnitzky, a pioneering anthropologist, established three conditions for effective fieldwork. First, the researcher must have a scientific goals, applying the values and approaches of contemporary ethnography. Second, the ethnographer must be in a better position when conducting the study. This implies that the ethnographer must live among the natives when gathering information. Third, the ethnographer must use several scientific methods of collecting, analyzing, and fixing data. These three aspects should lead to the three specific types of evidence from the fieldwork. First, ethnographer must understand the natives, their organization, and anatomy of their culture. Second, the researcher must understand the actual life and behavior of the natives. Finally, the researcher must present all materials from the field for analysis. According to Melnitzky, this was the ideal fieldwork. The reverse approach concentrated on interviewing the subjects. On the other hand, Melnitzky stressed the importance of participation by taking part in the village life. Thus, he notes it is a good for the ethnography sometimes to leave camera, notebook, and pencil and join what is going on. He can take part in the native games, festivals, fairs. He can follow them on their visits, walks, sit, listen, and share in their conversation. That is Melnitzky's methodology of collection of the data and analyzing the data. The ethnographic features. The ethnographer becomes embroiled in the setting. The combination of participant, observation, and approaches lie at the center of the ethnographic initiative. The researcher participating overly or covertly in people's daily lives for an extended period of time, watching what happens, listening what is said, and or asking questions through informal and formal interviews, collecting documents and artifacts, in fact gathering whether data are available through light on the issues that are the emerging focus inquiry. Center stage to the human factors and the sense which people make of the world. The role of ethnographer is to observe, document, and analyze these practices to present them in a new light. Ethnography requires an inductive examination of facts, long-term engagement, or immersion in the field and reflexive stand in order to understand the other from the point of view of others. It is expected from the ethnographer to enter the field without any preconceived ideas and to stay open in new data collection. Third one is the being there. He or she depends on personal contact with informants and therefore needs to be present physically in the specific field in the natural environment of the other that is limited in time and space. This sharing of time and place with informants is referred to be as being there. It is allows the researcher to experience what is to be a member of the group or a society studied. So it is very much clear that as an individual you go to the field and stays there prolonged period of stay and becoming a member of that society, collecting the data without pen or a pencil and writing the ethnographic report. That means you are becoming a member of the family. You are becoming a member of that society and staying with them, collecting the data, analyzing the data, writing the ethnographic report. So, cultural anthropologists or social scientists who write ethnographies are often called as ethnographers. Ethnographers who write about what they have learned from the people that they have been working with often use a research method known as participant observation. Participant observation, a technique of field research used in anthropology by which an anthropologist studies the life of a group by sharing in its activities. What is ethnographic research? Ethnographic research, we can call it is a qualitative research method which focuses on a particular community. It tries to study a socio-cultural phenomena. The second one is ethnographic inquiries seeks to elicit the social world from the perspective of those who inhabit it. Third one, ethnography can be used for comparative analysis of cultural group, that is different kind of habits such as eating, sleeping, marriage system, clothing, and different aspects of daily life. Ethnography uses long-term participant observation as a central method of data collection, where the researcher spends an extended period in social group to collect the data about them. The ethnographic researcher participates in people's daily lives for an extended period, watching what happens, listening what is said, and asking questions to throw light on the issues with which he or she is concerned. The ethnographer pays a particular attention to the everyday life, narrates of events, social interactions, and the cultural meanings and the practices of the community. So, these are the essential characteristics of ethnographic research. We have differences between quantitative and qualitative research. Ethnography is therefore presentation of empirical data on human society and cultures. It can also be used in social sciences to study ethnic groups, formations, compositions, resettlements, social welfare characteristics, materiality, spirituality, and people's ethnogenesis. In ethnography, all records are observed and described to avoid casual explanations. The observations method towards a naturalistic anthropology is attributed by Malinowski and others like Franz Boas, Margaret Mead, Freeman, Shankman, etc. Ethnography has been subjected to theoretical work such as feminism, Marxism, actor network theory, activity theory, distributed cognition, symbolic interacting, grounded theory, and many more. What are the advantages and disadvantages of ethnographic method? As a qualitative research method, ethnography offers several advantages. First, ethnography can account for the complexity of a group of behavior, reveal interrelationship among the several dimensions of groups' interactions, and provide context for behaviors. In addition, ethnographies can reveal qualities of group experience in a way that other research methods cannot. They can help determine future questions and types of follow up research. By expanding the range of knowledge and understanding of the world, researchers often are able to understand why behavior occurs rather than just nothing to occurrence. For example, quantitative study may find that students who are taught composition using a process method receive higher grades on papers than students taught using product method. However, a qualitative study might reveal why many composition instructors continue to use the product method, even though they are aware of the benefits of the process method. Ethnographic research has several disadvantages also. To consider, ethnography is time consuming and require a well trained researcher. It takes time to build trust with informants in order to facilitate full and honest discourses. Short time studies are at a particular disadvantage in this regard. Bias on the part of the researcher can affect both the design of the study and the collection and interpretation of data. Too little data may lead to false assumptions about behavior patterns, while large quantities of data may not be processed effectively. The most important ethnographic studies are the Asur of Jharkhand, Abus Maria of Chhattisgarh, Birhor of Jharkhand and Bihar, Dongria Kond of Odisha, Jarwa of Andaman Islands, Kotwalia of Gujarat, Chutia Bhujia of Odisha, Didai of Odisha, Maram Nagas of Manipur, Maria Gond of Maharashtra, Raji of Uttaranchal, Saharia tribe of Madhya Pradesh, that is in Chambal Valley, Sauri Paharia of Jharkhand and Bihar, Toto of West Bengal are some of the problematic places where they are inhabiting, inaccessible areas and prone for Naxalites, intrusion groups, and many other issues are associated there. It is not that much easy you can go and work among them. I have developed a network of anthropologists, sociologists, folklorists, and linguists contacted and identified. Through them, I have gone for research. Majority of the places, majority of these tribes, I have not seeked the administrative permission except the Andaman Islands. Almost all the tribes I have done it myself with my friends' help from various universities, various professors, lecturers, researchers. I thank all of them who has helped me in this regard. It is not that much easy to go and work among the Asur tribe and Abus Maria, Bharia tribe. It is not, it is totally, completely occupied by the Naxalites. You have to take the permission from the Naxalites and you have to go what the specific time which has given by them. That is the pathetic condition. For that, I have used different methods for my approach. That is the anthropology, that is the social science. If we have the zeal to work and to do the research, to contribute something for your nation, you can able to do. I had thought I wanted to sacrifice my life for this cause. Twice I escaped from Andaman Islands. I would have been drowned in the ship, small boats while I am traveling in the Great Nicobar Island, while I am traveling, small boat, engine boat, to study the Champagne population, and also in Jarwa Reserve Forest region. I have faced a lot of problem. Twice I have escaped. In the same way, while I am doing work on Asur tribe and the central India, Madhya Pradesh, while working, I have faced a lot of problem and among the especially Baiga and Bharia tribes. It is a challenging task doing research among the primitive tribes of India. At the end of this lesson, I wanted to summarize the discussion which you have made for the last 40-45 minutes. Ethnography is the role of scientific studies to expand the origin of the theories and explain various phenomena of a society. Though research methods, scientific studies are carried out to allow specific analysis according to a suitable methodology chosen by the researcher. It is the prerogative of the researcher to choose the research methodology that best suit the situation under investigation. This choice of research method should take into account the advantage and disadvantage of each method depending on the nature of the research study. Ethnography as a method allows a researcher to give special attention to the quantitative social boundaries that are unbundled from territorial space. Ethnography offers the potential ideal method for understanding research where the community and its members interact with each other. Ethnography is believed to be unproblematic if affected as a research method in information technology. That is to say, ethnography is a research design based on the different ontological and epistemological foundations that require the researcher to adhere to the natural sciences. I hope you understood what is ethnography and the method, the definition, the meaning, and methods used, and the limitations, advantages, and disadvantages of the method of ethnography for writing the reports. It is really wonderful methodology. If you involve deeply, you can enjoy your life. As an anthropologist and a futurist, I enjoyed my life in participating observations using different methods based on the particular situation. I have changed my methodology and collected the data. The situations which I have faced, no one might have been faced in the world. I have faced a lot of problems. The particularly vulnerable tribes, that is primitive tribes, almost all the people are inhabiting in inaccessible areas like Andaman Islands, the Nilgiri Hills, the central India, where Naxalite prone areas, almost all 50 tribes of primitive groups are inhabiting Naxal prone areas. I have visited, I had to contact the people. Various methods I have adopted in contacting and establishing the rapport with them for collection of the data. It is not that much easy. For each tribe, I made 3 trips. First, establishing myself and identifying the places for my research, contacting the tribal people, that is informants, where I can able to get the data for my accommodation to stay in the tribal villages, for my food and other things. First trip. Second trip, I made a ethnographic study by participant observation. I have made a detailed analysis of ethnography. You can see my ethnographic documentary films in YouTube, Twitter, and FaceTime. It is like a PhD thesis, which I have explained you sometimes before. So, almost all the aspects of the tribe I have covered. The problems which I have faced in the northeast region, Himalayan region, central India, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Andhra Pradesh there is no words to express. Several times I faced that I will be killed. Huge amount of money I had to spend for traveling and also having the field guide, research assistants, photography, videography, and recording all these things. It is not that much easy. Nowadays, you try to do one field work in one community for documentation. How much time and energy and financial resources you need. For this, I thank my daughter, my son-in-law, and my wife for their support in doing this field work. I have traveled with my son, I have traveled with my wife and my daughter to do the research work. If you look into my films, you will be seeing their contributions. It is not only my alone. Along with my research scholars, my family also contributed for this research on ethnography of 75 primitive tribes. You know, I feel now proud that I am the one of the topmost social scientists in the world, contributed to the discipline of social sciences about the various cultures, people of India. Apart from ethnographic studies, I have developed the problems and issues which they are facing, and I have submitted the reports to the concerned government and policy makers for their concern and development of those primitive tribes. It is one of the greatest contribution which I have made for the tribals of India. Thank you very much for hearing, and you may forward the link to your student friends and research scholars. Thank you very much.